Hey, welcome back to another Scope Creepers podcast. Today I am talking to Pluto, who I met in a little game dev content creator Discord with Nick Glenn, who's been on the podcast, and Jack. They host this thing, and met Pluto in there. And remember this summer where they made a game in 2 months, and then we're talking about it and sharing the manicness of it and all these different things, and all of a sudden it blew up. And I remember him posting this tweet where Hungrybox played it, and that got thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of views by the end of it all. And I just remember sitting there being like, I kind of want that success for myself. And then I got there. It's not a humble brag or anything, but I feel like it's interesting in the context of this conversation to understand that both our games have about 2,000 reviews at this point, which probably means we both have had over 100,000 people play the game. And so the context of that in this sort of conversation, I think, really helps to understand where I'm coming from with the questions I'm asking. And I feel incredibly lucky to be where I'm at, to have seen Pluto blow up with a few quick matches, and then to later go on to have equally number of skilled decision-making things that we did to create that luck to occur, but then also have some of these natural 20s roll on the die and have these critical successes and things like that. So really interesting conversation here with Pluto. Go check out a few quick matches if you like these stick figure games. Pluto has a huge, long history of making stick animations, having done the Doors videos back in the day, which I was talking to some of my friends, and while I don't remember those videos, they certainly do. And I remember seeing stick figure animations, trying to do it myself, and failing miserably at it. But there's a bunch of great games. You can see his art style. You can see how he comes from an artist background into game development and has kind of a good understanding of what he likes to do. So go check out a few quick matches, as well as Stick Figures, which is his other unreleased title at this point, and he's working on another game in the future. So it's safe to say that he'll be back on the podcast at some point to talk about some of these ventures and to see how a few quick matches goes in the long run. I may or miss talking to Pluto here. I hope you enjoy this conversation as much as I do. And without further ado, let's get into it.
It's that's the first thing I did, is I moved my family into a slightly bigger apartment.
Yeah.
Just so that
So
we
it's
could have three
I have
bedrooms.
500 square feet here, but that would be 640, and that's quite a bit more.
Yeah.
But
Just having
at the
a
same
space
time,
dedicated for work feels so good too.
Yeah.
Before this, I was next to my bed, and just sucks. It sucks having to do that.
But it's also lean, and it helps you stay lean so you can eventually keep making games. And I guess that's where I want to start with the conversation is, how long have you been making games? Because you kind of popped off this last summer with you popped off this last summer with a few quick matches, just shy of 20,000 reviews, or not 2,000 reviews.
I wish.
2,000 is still crazy, right?
Yeah.
There's another echelon when you get into the 20s, but 2,000 reviews is insanely awesome. But I'm interested, how long have you been making games, and maybe even in the creative space in general?
Games, in the grand scheme of things, not that long. I started, I believe it was 2022. That I started making games, so a little over 3 years. But even the first game that I was working on, I was only in charge of the animations for the game. I had no knowledge of code whatsoever, and I was basically only handling directing the game and creating the art assets for it.
Sure. Which you're really good at, seeing the animations in a few quick matches. And I don't know if we're going to talk about your current project, but your ability to make art is really impressive.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I've been in the stick figure community and the animation community since I was 13. Over 20 years now. So I hope I'm good at animating stick figures by now, because if I think I would have to hang it up if I couldn't animate a punch and a kick here and there at this point. But yeah, I started making games
I mentioned
in
you to a
2022.
few of my friends and said hey, do you remember these stick figure animations and what's it called, the Doors? And they're like, oh my gosh, I do. I'm like, yeah. That I'm talking to that dude. They're like, oh my gosh, such a full circle moment.
Yeah. It's weird how many people know about those collabs and still know me from those.
Yeah.
Outside of the actual stick figure community, because within the community it was a huge deal, and that's if I hop into any Discord or any conversation in that space, like that's immediately what people talk about and I'm known for, and that's all. But hearing it like outside the bubble where like other people have seen it is really strange. And I've gotten it a few times, even in public, like once or twice I got it because I used to stream like working on those, and
Yeah.
that was a really weird experience. Like
in the wild, just like
Yeah,
someone
it's
walked
like,
up and like, hey, are you this
yeah, my
person?
two lives are bridging, and these are not supposed to mix. Like you're not supposed to know me at a coffee shop right now.
Yeah.
This is weird.
Yeah. Oh, that would be weird. So you've been doing game dev more specifically for the last couple of years here. What made
Yeah.
you want to get into game development?
So I finished Doors 5, which was like a really big animation project, and every Doors project really took a lot out of me, and something bad always happened around them, and I was just kind of, I don't know, I wanted to do something different, but I still wanted to stay within that space, and so we started making a Doors game, and it was nice to be able to work on something else for a while, and we kickstarted it, and it was a successful Kickstarter. We raised about 40K, and our lead coder lived in Ukraine, and the Ukraine war kind of derailed every single thing that we wanted to do with that game, and he was pretty uniquely qualified to work on it because he had a lot of knowledge in both Adobe Animate and any language he needed to use, so it was kind of hard to make it without that. So I pivoted from Doors to working on Stick Figures, which is a platform fighter with stick figure characters, and I basically told the community like, hey, we can't make the game that you backed, but I will make this game for now using the money, and we can like return to it if the war gets better or whatever. And so then I started doing that, and I went down that rabbit hole, and that's when I kind of started to learn how to code, just working on stick figures and working on, with like an actual engine and not just drawing lines.
Yeah. How did that process go of learning that? Because I feel like the little bit I've understood from the kind of gleaning conversations between like you and Nick is like how complex a character controller is for a fighting game. Like that maybe feels like almost like a notoriously difficult place to start for a programmer who's like learning programming.
So I got lucky. The only reason I even started working on the game is because I found this thing called Platform Fighter Engine, and it was like for Game Maker, and it was built on top of Game Maker. And
like
I saw the trailer
almost
for it. Yeah, I saw the trailer for it, and I immediately knew like this is gonna work. No one found it yet. It had like 33 views on YouTube or whatever, and the platform fighter space was really limited. And then also I just had so much animation background, and I always wanted to make a stick figure fighting game because I just wanted to merge like the stick fights with Smash, which was my favorite game at the time. And I was just like, okay, I don't care how long it takes me. Like I'm gonna go learn how to use this engine or whatever. And I think I relate it probably best to like trying to learn a language by watching TV in that language. Like I had no idea what I was doing, but I just jumped in and kept staring at it and reading it and trying to mess with it until it started to click.
And you came from a background of knowing what it felt like, right? You had the animation, so it could look and like animation could probably smooth over the gaps in your abilities just to make it look good enough. And then also you knew the feel. It's like I watched a lot of Bob Ross kind of as it was like blowing up before it was on YouTube. And like I went to some sketchy sites to watch Bob Ross back in the day, but it was like by watching that, all of a sudden I was like, oh, I can just like compositionally, I learned so much by just that like process of enjoying the content. And so like, with making your own fighting game for the first time, like, did you feel your skills and your love of fighting games transition into that?
Yeah, it was, I don't want to like sound cocky or anything, but it was easy. Like creating the actual fighting game part of it was extremely easy and felt very intuitive. And the hard part was like actually learning how to make things happen and work and not break the engine every single time I hit play. But like when I would basically design, the way I worked on a character is I would just think of a combo in my head that I wanted to do with the character, and then I would make the six moves that I needed to create that combo, and then it would just work. And I was like, oh yeah, this is like I've just played the genre too much.
You have a really high proficiency bonus for I'm a D&D player, so I think in D&D terms. So your proficiency bonus for fighting games was so high that it counteracted the like inherent difficulty of picking a good design. You're just like, oh, I know what I like, and I'm just gonna take what I like and just. Now it's like the question is how do I make that? But it sounds like you didn't have as much iteration as like a typical game might have. to find out what works. You were just like, this sounds cool. Okay, now how do I make cool thing?
Yeah, I think in total, out of the first 4 characters I made for stick figures, which still hasn't released, but the first 4 characters I made for stick figures, I think I only ever had to actually fundamentally change like maybe 2 or 3 moves, and there's probably like 20 moves per character.
That's such a
but
high.
I'm
That's such a high rate. Like that's
yeah
like
yeah.
80% hit rate or 90%. Like that's so high.
But I have the advantage, like I said, I've been in the stick figure community since
Yeah.
I was 13, and that game specifically is using characters from our community over the years. And so I've literally been thinking about this game like since I was probably 15, because
Right.
Smash was my favorite game and stick figures was my favorite like form of media back then.
Yeah.
And I just wanted it so bad that I pictured it forever. And when I finally got to work on it, it was just like all this thought paid off finally, where I could just kind of dump it into the game very quickly. And
It's like your
yeah,
love letter to some of your favorite like core pieces of you as a child, you as an adult. Like
Yeah,
these things come together to form this like perfect game in that perfect moment. This is transitioning that into a few quick matches, which actually did get released and stuff. But
Yes.
like, from my perspective, and I'd be interested to know how you feel. Like, it feels like what's the first one? Stick figure fighting. What's it called?
it's just called stick figures.
Cool. Stick figures seemed like it was a precursor to let you like run really fast on a few quick matches, because you made that
Yeah.
game relatively quickly, right? Or
Yeah, I
insanely
made it in
quickly.
2 months.
Yeah,
2
that
months.
insanely quickly.
Yeah. Yeah, so I was working on stick figures kind of slowly at that point. But I had figured out the rhythm, right? Like I still didn't have to learn everything about code. I was still using the platform fighter engine as a base. It already had a lot of netcode built in. It had
Yeah.
a lot of the functionality of a platform fighter built in. It was really just animating the attacks and the movements of each character and coding the attacks specifically if they had some like unique properties or whatever. But I got it down, and I also had someone make me a plugin that made it very easy, and my workflow was like great. But I ran out of money. I completely ran out of money, and I started to go into debt. And it wasn't a lot of debt, but like I am not an idiot, and I didn't have
Sure.
any income coming in other than a little bit of Patreon money, and I have a family of 3, and I can see the writing on the wall. So it's like I either have to get a full-time job, or I had this idea for a couple months in my head where like I could just scrap everything I've done and simplify everything, and I know the workflow now, and I can kind of even 10x my speed if I make it even simpler art style than it already is, and I think I can make a game in 2 months. And I actually thought I could do it in 1, but it always takes double. No matter how long you think a game is going to take to make, it is exactly double every time. So it took 2. But I was like, I really think it could work, and I think it can sell 1,000 copies. And that was the plan: was make this stupid little game, sell 1,000 copies, and get myself out of debt so I can go back to stick figures. And
Yeah.
I made it in 2 months with the help of my friend Plague. He was basically working full time on it as well, so I can't take all the credit.
Sure.
And yeah, we released the game. And
Was
it
stick figures
sold.
by yourself?
Stick figures, other than the plugin that was helping me create characters, which was made by the guy who actually was working on the Doors game originally. Other than that, it was mostly me up until a certain point when Plague kind of came on just to help with little stuff. But yeah, stick
Yeah.
figures was mostly
Majority you.
my doing. Yeah.
Sure. And then partnering with somebody and having a clear vision, clear path, and all of a sudden a clear idea, almost a clear deadline.
Yeah.
Like you like,
Yeah,
I
no,
need
I
the
was on a
money now.
clock.
There's
Yeah.
like not even a choice, and you're like, I remember that was kind of one of the first memories I have of chatting with you in that Discord server. Is like, oh, you're like, I need to get this done. Like this is a huge like this has to happen. Like we're like,
Yep.
what are you gonna do for the week? We're like, you're like, it has to happen this week.
Yeah.
Like there's no other
Yeah.
choice. And we're like, cool.
Yeah. The game has to release or I'm
Yeah.
screwed. So
Yeah. Looking back at those 2 months, what stands out to you from that time?
I don't remember a single thing from those 2 months. I worked 18 to 19 hours a day.
Oh my gosh.
I don't remember any conversations with my at the time girlfriend, now fiance.
Congratulations.
I don't remember any conversations with our daughter. I don't remember conversations with Plague, the guy who was helping me make the game. Like I don't remember anything other than the day I released the trailer and it started to kind of take form on Twitter, and I got to breathe a little bit finally because all the hard work was pretty much done, and it was like a lot of tedious stuff for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
But yeah, probably a month and a half straight, I don't remember anything because I go outside, I play basketball, I do all this other stuff, and I did nothing. I ate food, and I worked on that game, and I slept a little tiny bit, and that's all I did.
Ooh, that's
But like,
it
I'll
worked.
take that over, yeah, because the two options were make this game or get a real job, and
Yeah.
I've worked for myself for so long, and I hated working in like a traditional job that I was like, it's worth it. It'll be worth it as long as it works, and I think it'll work. And I believed in it enough to like put in the time to do it, and yeah, it paid off.
It absolutely did. There's one other moment I want you to talk about from that time, which was you had some tweet or whatever you call them, an X or whatever. I don't
It's
even
still a
know.
tweet to me.
Yeah.
It's always
You
Twitter.
posted on some platform that for whatever reason changed its name to to great success. Can you talk about that the tweet?
Yeah, so the reason I knew the game would be at least it would sell the 1,000 that I needed it to sell is because I had also been in the Smash community for a long time. I mean, I was pretty far removed from it at this point for years, but I was deep in the trenches of the Smash community, going to a tournament like every day for probably 3 years or something like that.
Yeah.
And I knew everyone. I had connected with everybody. I used to be a commentator. I used to live with one of the best players in the world, and through him, I met all the other best players in the world. So like,
Yeah.
I had the connections on Twitter where it's like, if I make a good enough trailer, the platform fighter community is starving for a game. They always are. All of them will always try it at least once, which is all you need. You basically just need them to buy it once, and if they
Yeah.
like it, they'll stick around. If they don't,
Yeah.
they probably won't refund it. So I was like, I'll just make a pretty good trailer and I'll put it on Twitter. It wasn't even planning on putting it anywhere else because I just knew that's where the Smash community lives still. I don't know why. It's a terrible app at this point, but that man ruined my favorite app, but that's a whole other conversation.
That's kind of what a lot of people talk about though with that app. They're like, why do I still use this? I was listening to some podcasts and people were like, I gotta stop using it, but it's still my favorite place. But they're like, it's so bad.
It's really bad, but it's great for game marketing and specifically fighting game marketing because all the fighting game players just refuse to leave that space.
Sure. That's their
They won't-
little niche.
Yeah, they won't migrate to like Discords or anything. It's crazy. But anyway, I posted the trailer for the game and pulled in my favors from my top player friends from the Smash community and was like, you three need to be the first three to retweet this. And it just took off from there. It took off way more than I expected it to. Even that trailer, I had like some numbers in my head that were like best case scenario, and it like crushed it in the first. Actually, at the very beginning, it did really bad. In the first like 20 minutes, no one did anything. Like no one liked it or retweeted it or anything, and I was like, I'm screwed. Like I'm gonna go start applying to jobs, and then somehow, so I don't know what happened, but it just started ticking up slowly. And then at one point, I think everyone that I knew from the Smash community, big and small, popular and not popular, had seen it and had commented on it in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
And,
is this the trailer or is this the clip of that person?
This is just the trailer.
Okay, so this is the initial trailer just to like get it into the zeitgeist of the fighting community.
Yeah, so the trailer worked out, and the guy who is from the clip that you're talking about, Hungrybox, that trailer is how he saw the game. And he's like the one person that I really didn't know from the Smash community. I met him one time, and I guarantee you he doesn't remember it because he's at this point he's the biggest Smash creator, and even back then he was humongous and probably met hundreds of people every day at tournaments and stuff. So definitely did not know who I was. Like he's the one guy I was never like pretty close with. And he DM'd me after that trailer and was like, hey, your game looks cool. Let me know if, you want to do anything. And that's the golden ticket in the Smash community right now because he is the biggest streamer for Smash. He's the biggest content creator. He puts the most money into the community. He hosts like monetary tournaments still online. So yeah, he's the golden ticket. And we arranged a time and a place for him to play. And I was like, as long as this goes okay, then I'll be fine, right? And
going into that, is there nerves that like I feel like whenever I go into releases and stuff like demos and different things, I'm like, I might get lucky, this person might play it, and please don't break. Like,
yeah.
Is there any of those nerves before this like meeting with Hungrybox to have him play it?
I was confident in the gameplay itself, but yeah, I was like, just please God,
please don't
let
black screen. Please
something
don't black screen
stupid go wrong. Because I I had an internal testing group of like 10 people who were really good at stick figures, and they had
Yeah.
been playing the game and kind of helping me
Just
balance
breaking it.
stuff like
Yeah.
on the way. Yeah, and fixing all the bugs and stuff. So by the time he got his hands on it, there were a couple bugs where I was like, if he does some stuff, it's gonna crash. But I was like, we just got to get there, and it sucked, man. The first 20 minutes or 30 minutes of that stream, his controller didn't work,
Oh no.
and because he was using a GameCube controller, and it's the one controller that I didn't have support for like natively, because it's very hard to do. And kudos to him, man. Like I said, he's got plenty of other things to do. He could just throw on playing
Yeah,
Smash
he could have been like,
Ultimate
next time, man.
his viewership was dropping. Like, people were trash talking the fact that it wasn't working or whatever, and he stuck it out for like 30 minutes, read chat on ways to fix it, and like, because we had a fix, but it was like hard to get it to him because he wasn't looking at DMs or whatever, and he stuck around and he waited till his controller worked, and he started playing the game and instantly started complimenting it, and like, with someone as big as Hungrybox, whatever his opinion of the game is going to translate to his chat instantly. Like, if he hates it, his chat's going to hate it without trying it or whatever. If he loves it, his chat's going to love it. And he complimented the hell out of it, and had a couple games online against those internal testers. And I was like, I just need one clip. I need one clip of like a hype combo, and he'll do his little screamy thing that he does, and like it'll work. And it, like, no one had 0 to death in that game. No one had done a perfect combo up until that point.
Yeah.
And that was the very first perfect combo that anyone had ever done, where it's just straight start the game and you instantly die to this crazy clip, and Hungrybox went nuts, and then I posted that on Twitter, and it was curtains from there. Like, that was everything I needed.
I feel like the clip was almost perfect too. Is like, I feel like didn't he say something and then it literally like happened?
Yeah,
like, there's something.
he just
like,
said the
Ziz
game
will
was
do this in
good.
PoE where he'll be like, "Oh, this would be this would be a crazy time to die," and then all of a sudden Ziz will accidentally die. I'm like, oh. And like, like, those clips are so good, and like, I feel like that clip had that recipe of like, says something and then the funny thing happens immediately.
Yeah, I got so lucky. He complimented it. All he said was like, "This game is really good. It's just hard." That's all he said. But he said that it was really good, and then instantly the guy who's really good at the game, the literal best player at the time, just walked over to him and just walked him to the edge of the stage and killed him instantly, and it was beautiful.
It just punctuates it so well.
I have never hit a clip button faster in my life. I was so excited. And that clip specifically went like omega viral in the context of the fighting game community. And
how did those moments feel? I know you said that's a whole blackout period, but is there feelings that come to mind as we're reliving some of this stuff here, that like, that kind of, these like really big moments where you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Like, this is happening.
Yeah.
Is there any feelings that come back to mind?
Yeah. I actually remember, it's a really funny one. After that tweet had kind of started exploding, and I saw who was quote tweeting it. It was like people outside of the fighting game community.
Oh.
Like, Caleb City DM'd me, and I've been watching Caleb City for like since he started, basically. He's like YouTube god to me, one of the YouTube gods, and he DM'd me and was like, "I want to play your game, like, get me a key or whatever." And right then I was like, okay, I can start ordering Uber Eats instead of cooking my food for the next couple of days, because I have like a lot of work that I still need to finish, and I don't have time to cook.
Uber Eats is great.
And basically for all 3 meals every day up until the day of release, after Caleb City DM'd me, I was just eating Uber Eats so that I could work faster and like not have to.
It was a time optimization, not even like you're just like, oh, my time's now more worth me than me cooking for 10 minutes or 20 minutes. It's like, no, I can pay $30 and it'll just be here.
Yep. Like, I got to go faster, and now I know I can. And I just kept, every day I would wake up and that tweet just kept going. It just never lost momentum all the way up until release. People were still retweeting that clip of Hungrybox getting absolutely wrecked in my game.
It's funny, and I don't like fighting games. I'm really bad at them. I grew up with a Nintendo 64 and just never had Smash, so I like I developed those skills as a kid, which is weird. Like, I had a lot of the other games, but not Smash, so it's like, I can see that clip and I can appreciate it. I can look at it and I can laugh at it and I can understand it, which is, I think, why, from my perspective, it does so well, is that it's like, the stick figures are accessible. I feel like almost everybody like us, has some stick figure memory as a kid, either playing mini clip games of stick figures fighting or simply like YouTube touchstone animations. Because that's like that sort of stuff is like ancient YouTube like OG content is like stick figure fights online, and like that combination it worked. And I look at it from my perspective and I see it comes from a place of love and care and understanding of like these games, which I'm so struck by, of like, you made a game out of a genre that you're like, I love this thing, I love these things, and the decisions you probably made are informed by that love of that.
Yeah. A lot of the decisions were informed by just things that I wanted to see in the genre for a long time. And then that was more stick figures, to be honest. A few quick matches, a lot of my decisions were formed out of necessity. I removed a lot of mechanics from the genre specifically so that I could finish in 2 months. Like if you add the rock paper scissors element of grab beats shield, shield beats attack, and attack beats grab, you have to balance all three of those things, and just balancing that interaction alone can take you months. And it's like, well, if you just remove the shield, now you just have to move around and hit each other, and I don't have to animate all these different like interactions, and then I can remove grabs because you don't need them if there's no shield. So it's purely just like movement and attack, and it's pretty fun, but it also is just like really, really quick for me to pump out.
Which is a huge plus and can only happen like, you know, you give yourself 8 months to make that game. I wonder, does it do as well?
I don't know. I don't think so. I think one advantage that I had is when I announced it with the trailer, it was coming out in 3 weeks. Like I hard capped it in that first trailer. I was like, it's releasing August 5th, which was exactly 3 weeks away. And that's really rare in that genre. Usually when you hear about a platform fighter, it's like, all right, new platform fighter coming out in 2 years. Get ready. And no one cares. You know, like it takes too long. But the excitement of the trailer plus the quickness of the release date plus the price point, which I very purposely made super, super cheap. I think it just hit all the right notes at the right time. And I don't think it would have done as well if I had taken a longer time, like stick figures. One, because I have ADHD and I get tired of working on things, and then I start slowing down. I think I would have started marketing it earlier, and it actually would have lost some of its buzz before the actual launch happened.
That momentum-based stuff is weird, and I don't know quite how to parse it a little bit. Of like, a Game About Feeding Black Hole, similar thing. We launched demo 2 weeks before Next Fest. We get a little bit of YouTube coverage, and then like the wave crests almost in the middle of the Next Fest, which is like, you can see like Chris Sakowski will talk about Next Fest numbers bouncing up, and like there's this peak where like typically games in the Next Fest go down in impressions, and we went up, and it's like this cresting of these like big YouTubers who like played it before Next Fest happened. All these things, like there's something with momentum, and I don't really know how to value that and look at it, and even like looking forward, I'm like, how do I replicate anything like that? Yeah, you know, like I feel like that sort of momentum and stuff feels lucky to me. But then the skill is like fanning that flame, I suppose. So I guess as we're finishing up, maybe talking about a few quick matches, it's like looking back at it, how much do you feel like is luck versus skill, or somewhere in between? Like where do you look back on this game from that context?
I think that without the Hungry Box clip, I still would have sold pretty well. But I will give up all the luck in the world to that clip, because that clip is lightning in a bottle that I will never be able to read. No marketing agency can create that clip. You can't. It's the most organic thing where the top creator compliments your game and he gives you the perfect thing right afterwards, and it's like exactly what you need. And that's all luck. That's just the game gods like throwing me a bone finally.
Him having a decent night's sleep, or being in good enough mood to be able to sit through the controller shenanigans, right? Like all of those things, him having the time of day to even, you know, talk to you and work with you, like those things are all, I feel like, kind of, that's a little bit of the luck in my head, is like getting to that situation and then even seeing it through the point where like even that gameplay moment is luck, right? That person, like, it's hard to probably pull off that perfect combo, right? That's, you said it was the first time ever, and so even that, like that sort of sequence, if one of those buttons is a little bit later, maybe that doesn't go 0 to 100, and now the clip is fine but not great. So I think that, you know, that really, really skyrocketed it.
to, levels beyond what I thought was going to be possible sales wise.
Yeah.
But at the same time, without the game underneath, that clip doesn't exist, and without all the thought process and the work that went into like, I think the combo can work, like I think things like this can work. So I think there's a fair amount of balance between luck and skill there. Also, I just remembered he wasn't even going to play the game that night. I had to donate him like 20 gifted subs.
What a small cost.
So yeah, that's
what a trivial cost.
Is that a tax write-off? Can I write off that $100?
Yeah, you probably can. I'm not an accountant, but I bet you probably could.
But yeah, I think that even without that, I knew what I had after I posted the trailer.
Yeah,
and I think it would have done well enough.
Order of magnitude wise, I want to hear an order of magnitude of how many more sales you think that clip garnered.
Dude, it's
like 100x, 1000x.
I'd have to look at the numbers that tweet ended up doing, honestly.
Yeah. It's really hard in my head too, because it's like those wish lists you got from that aren't worth one wish list to one purchase. Like early wish lists pre-launch I feel like they're worth like 3 to 4 wish lists, because it gets you new and trending. It gets you like it multiplies the Steam algorithm based off of how many wish lists you have, and so it's probably a pretty big multiplier.
I don't know. Also, because like I said, like people like Caleb City, big YouTubers, like people outside of the platform fighting community started retweeting it because of that clip. Like that's the clip that really exploded it beyond the reach of like my little community of people that I knew would purchase the game.
Yeah.
And like my little community of people that I knew would advertise for me because they're my friends. And like I knew I had that at the very least. And that I think without that, I could have just stuck within that niche and that's all it would have been. But that clip is like I said, that is a marketer's dream, and it's unfathomable how much sales that got me.
I remember you putting that tweet in the Discord, and I was sitting there like, I was like sitting there with Hexagon. I was like, God, I want something like that to happen to me. I'm like, God, that's like that jealous. I'm like,
yeah.
I'm like, I want that
jealousy,
shit. I'm like, gosh, like this. I'm like so happy for you, and I'm also like, that's so cool. Like it's like, God, I want that moment in that bottle, because it is so cool. But it's also something that I love, because it's like you also painted a very clear picture of you understanding where you're coming from and the value and the connections you've made with other humans. Like you looked at the community you're part of and said like, hey, and it's not even like maliciously. You had a good product and you're like, hey guys, can you like help me retweet these things? And I'm sure they were like, absolutely. They're probably like, knowing you a little bit, there's probably no like, you didn't have to like pull anyone's arm. They're like, yeah, sure, why not? Retweet it. Absolutely.
Yeah, I had a lot of good faith left in the Smash community when I parted ways with it, and I still kept in touch with a couple of my friends and things like that. So I really didn't feel like I was begging or asking for a handout or anything. Two of them were just like happened to be pretty close friends of mine who are still doing really well within the space, and they had played stick figures and really liked it, so they knew I wasn't just gonna like shovel them some bullshit or whatever. It's not like it's got a bunch of crypto like NFTs attached to it or whatever. Like I'm trying to make a quick buck. I was just like, hey, you want to play on stream, like, and help me market my game a little bit? And they're like, oh yeah, that sounds fun.
Can you talk a little bit about your pricing strategy? You said you were like aggressively cheap. Is that relative to the space? Is that relative to other games? Like, I'm a huge fan of pricing stuff lower than not, especially for like early games that you're like kind of just craving more players to play than like fewer players at a higher price point. I'm a huge fan of kind of coming down. So what was your strategy? Where did you price it and why?
Yeah, so most indie platform fighters are around $20 to $30. I had never seen one cheaper than that other than Multiverses, which was free. And they were doing like, in-game purchases and things like that, which is just complicated to set up, and I still don't even know how to do it, so that wasn't an option.
Me neither.
No idea what goes on in there, and also it just feels icky. But I was like, well, if I price it at a point where 4 copies is the equivalent to 1 copy of every other indie platform fighter, then one person who would have bought it can buy it for 3 friends, and they can all play together, and that's like really where you hit the right points for fighting games. Is like 2 people need to want to play the game. It's not very fun to fight the computer for more than 30 minutes maybe. You need to there has to be another guy that you want to punch, and they want to punch you, and that is absolutely required in order for it to work. So I was just like, I just need to price it at a point where someone could buy it for themselves and a friend at the same time, and then that way it'll kind of like spread organically. So that was the thought process there. And then also, it had just never really happened in the platform fighter space. Like, none of them had ever been that cheap. And there was only 3 characters at launch. It's not like I could charge $40. It'd be insane. So yeah, it was kind of like a limiting factor of like, there's not enough content to charge a lot, but also I think it's strategically smart just to get it to spread.
And it sounds like it comes from you having played all these games, purchased them with money, and then been like, yeah,
a lot of the
expensive
times
for this, right? Like, I'm not going to pay $80 to have my friends come play with me.
Well, the other thing, too, is that with platform fighters specifically, most people, almost everybody, you main one game. And if you switch, it's because you're really good at the new one, or it just like something clicks, like there's a mechanic in it that you really like and enjoy, and you kind of stick around. But everybody plays one, and everybody complains about all the other ones.
It's like MOBAs for the same reason. It's like,
I
play League because I know
hard.
all 160 champions. I don't know a single Dota champion, and for me to go play Dota would be so much learning that I don't want to do.
Yeah, and it's really hard to compete with Big Mario. Big Mario has a pretty big stranglehold on the platform fighter space. Like, everyone always jokes that the next platform fighter is the Smash Killer, and a couple of them I think genuinely were trying to be the one to like topple it or whatever. But you're not gonna beat Mario. I can play as Mario, and you're never gonna win that battle. So then it's just like, all right, I just need to price it at a point where like people can appreciate it and play it. If they don't like it, it's only like a couple bucks, and maybe they'll still feel like, well, that's like a cool thing for someone else. It's just not for me. Whereas like, I've bought platform fighters before for $40 and played it and been like, oh my god, this is not for me. And it takes more than 2 hours to really come to that conclusion. So you're past the refund point at that point. I just didn't want to waste anybody's time. And if you don't like it, then maybe you can feel like you didn't break your wallet in order to, or take a risk in order to try it.
Sure. I also specifically find fun in that first couple hours of games. Like, I'm falling off of ARPGs now, but I used to play all the time, play PoE and PoE 2, but I would appreciate hopping into other ARPGs to play the first 5-10 hours of it. Not like being like, this is my forever game, I'm going to go back to PoE, but I'm like, I like that first, like, oh, here's how they did this decision differently, or here's how these mechanics work, and that, like, just understanding the little pieces I imagine in, oh, here's how blocking, grabbing, whatever the insert fighting game terms here, this is how this game expresses that, could be an interesting exploration for a player who's then like, okay, I think I get what this game is doing differently, and I'm gonna go back to my other game because I don't want to like ruin my you want to be good at one and deep at one skill in that one game.
Especially for fighting games where a lot of the people who do play them, indie platform fighters especially, a lot of people will like enter tournaments and stuff. Like, they'll try to take it decently serious to the point where they can compete. So it's hard to kind of switch back and forth mechanically between two platform fighters when they have completely different systems and combos and like matchups that you have to remember how to play against. And
so even kind of you like targeted as more of a casual fighting game, which I mean, even in the name, a few quick matches like gives you kind of that sense and vibe that like, this isn't going to be something that I'm looking to make a professional scene around. This isn't something I'm looking to do X, Y, and Z. Maybe you did those things in retro afterwards, but like in the moment, you're like, oh, I can make a casual one where people will play for a couple hours, they'll get their money worth, and then it's okay that they put it down. You're actually okay with that.
Yeah, that was the plan. The plan was to make a super like casual game where it's like you can just do cool combos. Like, you just get in and you can do some cool stick figure combos, and it feels cool to do, and that's it.
The animations are nice and snappy and tight. And,
it just feels fun to play, and I'm not trying to create some competitive masterpiece here with $1 million prize pool at the end of a giant tournament series.
Like, I need to get out of that.
I'm just trying to buy more Uber Eats. So that was the plan, but I accidentally ended up creating a extremely high skill gap game, to the point now where a lot of new players are getting like phased out pretty quickly because the people who are good at it, I mean, there is no chance. If you are fighting someone with 20 hours versus 3 hours, the 20 hours person is going to win every single time, like by far. It's not even fun almost. So, oops. But I can't do anything about it now because,
Yeah.
that's the game I created on accident.
Yeah.
And I just got to be okay with that. But casuals are still having fun with it and, buying it for friends and family and playing together. But in terms of like hopping online for an actual few quick matches against some random guy, it's like you can't do it because you'll just queue against some guy who's never left my Discord and he'll just kill you.
That's a interesting problem to have, I suppose.
Yeah, it's a weird one, especially because now my Discord is like a bunch of people asking for like a lot of different balance changes and like fine tuning things and really dedicating a ton of time to the game. And it's like, I mean, yeah, I want to make it as good as I can, but like that was never the intention. I just wanted you to be able to do some cool combos and have some fun. So it's kind of like a weird battle in my head that I'm facing now.
Yeah. So I'm at the point where we're now entering the long tail of sales for A Game About Feeding a Black Hole, where we're out of our launch visibility. We're about to have our first discount window and stuff, but like we're starting to understand what that long tail is going to look like, and trying to make decisions about how much time to dedicate to the game moving forward versus looking forward to making the next game or different things like that. How did that look like for a few quick matches? Where did that kind of hypercare release support window go? When did that kind of drop off? Like, are you still working on the game and developing it? Is there plans for future content? Like, where do you fall in the spectrum of like long-term support? And like, what did the last couple months look like?
Originally, it was going to be a pretty short tail. I wanted to create at least one new character for the game because I wanted to at least round it up to 4, which we did. We released Ninja.
So you could have 4 players play it, and it'd be each.
Everybody has a different character if they wanted to. Yeah. And 3 just felt like too little. It was just a time constraint more than anything.
Yeah.
So I wanted to at least do that, and then we wanted to add the ability to make custom characters and add workshop support because that once you finish that, especially in a casual game, which was the original plan, that really runs itself. In the fighting game space, there's a ton of workshop creators for platform fighters that just they gobble it up, dude. They love it. So if I made them a cool character creator and got workshop support, and that was in my head kind of going to be the ending of development of that game, and I could go back to working on stick figures and finish that. But the game just exploded to such a degree that like it's almost like forcing my hand of like I'm so grateful, like I have to work on this game some more, and I don't dislike it. I'm still working on a new character again. Plague is still working on the workshop stuff, but yeah, I really don't know when it's going to end now. I want to work on other projects really badly, and in a lot of my free time and sometimes full days I am working on like other projects, but I know I still have time to dedicate to this, and I think workshop will still be the pinnacle of it, and once that's fixed, it'll pretty much just be some balance changes and little things like that. But there's at least probably 5 or 6 more months worth of stuff to be done until I can like fully kind of make an announcement of like, all right, this is the game that you get now. Like, yeah.
How do you pick that point? Like, why is it 5? It's just like number of characters, that workshop support, like.
It's just like internally a timeline that I think everything will be done. I hate making dates now because every date after release date that I've announced something for a few quick matches, I have missed it every time.
Yep.
So I'm not going to sit here and tell you I'm overshooting like drastically right now, just specifically.
Yes, let's put hey editor, which there's no editor of this. Put 5 or 6 months in quotation marks and pop up and say, he made that number up. Like, it's fake. Don't hold him to it.
Please, God, don't hold it to me because my community does not like it when I miss the dates, understandably.
Yeah,
but,
which makes sense. Yeah. Like, we had to put dates. Like, for whatever reason, we had game modes afterwards that we were going to publish, like, alternate game modes of A Game of Feeding a Black Hole. And it's like, we put dates on it. Yep. And like looking back, I'm like, what a wild decision to make.
Yeah, terrible.
We just say coming soon, and people are like, when? And I'm like, when it's ready. That's the answer.
Yep.
It's like when it's ready, it'll be out. Like, that's
internally,
how it works.
Plague and I have like dates for when we want workshop done, but I will never say it again because as soon as I set a date for something bad would happen in my personal life or whatever, and I think a lot of people don't understand that from an indie game like developer perspective. Is like, if I have a bad day, the whole studio shuts down.
Stops.
Like,
Yep.
there is no work to be had if something happens and I need to go take care of it, or like I just mentally am drained and can't even like think about creating something that day or whatever. And even as successful as the game is, and it's a huge motivating factor, like, you still have days where you're just not there. Like, you're not there mentally and you can't do it, and it really slows down production. So
how do you handle those days?
play a lot of Arc Raiders now. No, I don't know. It's happening less and less. I was pretty overwhelmed after launch because there was so many voices. There's so many people in the Discord. And everyone was asking for a different thing, because that's the other kind of pitfall of platform fighters, is that everybody wants it to be exactly something else. Like, everybody has their idea of what a few quick matches is now, and it's not my game anymore. It's their game. And some people want me to just like grind out characters. Some people want me to fix balance things. Some people want me to add workshop, and some people want new stages and new game modes and single player. And it's like, well, I'm one guy, and Plague is one guy, and I gotta kind of pick and choose my battles here. So I was pretty overwhelmed in the beginning, on top of the fact that we had to rework our entire network system because it wasn't working for like a chunk of players. They just couldn't play online. So that was really the focus for Plague, and then I kind of had to just like work on characters. And I'm rambling a little bit, but it was a lot of voices coming in all at once. And it's I'm kind of grateful that the community is quieted down a little bit, and it's like a Discord full of names I recognize now, and everybody's just kind of talking about the game, and it's a little calmer. Everybody kind of understands the situation. But I think, like, to a normal person who buys a game that is doing that well and has that many players online, there's like an expectation of like, oh, they're just going to pump out all this stuff because it's making so much money, or like it's doing so well. So the beginning was pretty tough.
It is a weird place to be in with all the different noise and voices and stuff. How do you pick what you did? Is there any rhyme or reason to like seeing, like, my strategy was always like look for trend lines, and then I would start typing long comments and responding, and then I'd like catch myself. This is from doing YouTube. I'd like catch myself responding and just like delete the message and either say nothing or just say, hey, thanks for playing your game, and sharing your feedback. Like, which is a good reflex that I'm happy with. And I told Thorny, I'm like, I don't want to go and argue with people with negative reviews. Like, people are going to have the reviews. I'm not changing their mind. Like, how do you process this stuff? And like, when you have all these people making decisions or making feedback and ideas, some of which are probably great, right? Some of which you hear and you're like, oh my God, that's a great idea. But which ones do you actually choose to do?
Well, first of all, I do send the big long message because
yes, I've seen the story. I've seen the thread.
Yeah. I don't like it when people are well, honestly, like, feedback and criticism is fine. I am not like this big egotistical, my game is perfect and what I say is law or whatever. But I don't like it when people are uninformed and mean at the same time.
Like,
and
personally attacking you.
Yeah, those people I will send the big message to. And that part was fun, honestly. That like gave me, I don't know, as sadistic as it is to say, like, it was fun to be right and know that I'm right. And eventually be proven right in a lot of those conversations.
Nobody came after us personally, and I wonder if that would have felt differently. The people who do get a little personal and different things, I usually just delete their stuff and like I just move on with my life and like ban. But like, I don't know if you can do that on Steam.
Yeah,
maybe
it's tougher in like the Steam discussions and stuff like that. But just make a fighting game, and a lot of people will come after you personally. I promise.
If I make a fighting game, no one's gonna play it because I have no idea what I'm doing.
Oh, they'll play it. They'll just hate you for it.
They'll play it, and then they'll send me death threats. Like, why the fuck did you make this thing?
But for the actual feedback and criticism, it was easy in the beginning to know what to focus on, because like, if the online isn't working for 8 to 10% of your community,
that's a big portion when the number is so big. You do the math, you're like, that's 1,000 or 2,000 people who just can't play my game. Like, shit.
Yeah, all of my negative reviews were the game doesn't work online. Like, I don't know what to tell you, which is perfectly a valid reason for leaving a negative review. I can't do nothing about that. But on the flip side, there was also this issue where people were like, the controls for this game suck and the movement sucks. and that was specifically coming from a Brawlhalla community, and they were just used to their game, which plays very differently from other platform fighters, and
Sure.
like that's something that like I know I'm not going to be able to fix for them. Like,
Yeah.
I can't do anything about that, man. My game just doesn't feel like Brawlhalla, and so I knew not to focus on little things like that. And I think I pick and choose, or
You knew
picked
what your
and-
game
and chose
was,
the
and
correct
then
ones.
when the things are like recommendations to make it what it's not, you're like, no,
yeah,
no.
I can't do that. Yeah,
Yeah.
So a lot of it was like Plague was working on the online stuff. I didn't have to think about it at all. So that guy's a saint for that. Because I still have no idea how to do it. I couldn't do it if I wanted to. So while he was fixing the online issues, I kind of balanced my time between creating the fourth character and balance changes. But I learned pretty quickly in the beginning that I was doing too much, too fast. I came from like communities where you kind of wouldn't hear from the devs for weeks to maybe months at a time, and then they would drop their patch and people would complain or not complain or whatever, and then they would go silent again. So I was just there. Like, I was there all the time,
Responding,
talking
being
to
active,
people.
yeah.
And if people had bugs or whatever, I was the only person that was there qualified to like tell them how to fix it or tell them that I was working on it or whatever. So a lot of my time was just telling people I was working on the game instead of actually working on the game. But yeah,
I did the same thing. I feel like it's good. I like that. I like that active vibe, like being like, hey, here's what it is. I like taking each concern and being like, I hear you out and I'm working on it. Like, or hey, here's a workaround. Can you try that out? Like, I feel like that earned me or earned our game and us some positive reviews, or at least some like. There's this guy from Australia who, like, I was playing TFT and he hopped and asked me some questions, and I ended up fixing his problem, and like I'm pretty sure he's gonna start a religion about us. Like, he's like he's gonna turn me into Muad'Dib. Like, he's proselytizing me down in Australia. So like, at the same time, it's like I bet a lot of people you earned a lot of respect by being active and by like making them feel seen and heard.
Yeah,
because the opposite could happen is like this dev isn't like they're raging and they're like he's not doing anything.
Yeah,
and now you're like. But that's also hard to understand where the value is there, right? Like, you're like, I'm not working, I'm responding, I can't fix it, but like...
it was tough at first, but I did see a lot of people who were enthusiastic about how much I was like involved in discussing with people and telling people I was working on things. And at one point I was putting out a balance patch every day, with like all these patch notes for some bug fixes, but mostly like character changes and things like that. And eventually I got called out for it. Just one guy was just like, dude, you got to let the game breathe a little bit. Like
let metas develop and...
Yeah. And I was like, you're right. Like, why am I doing this? This is crazy. This is like psycho behavior of like fixing every little thing that I'm seeing every single person negatively say about a character. I'm like, okay, I can fix that. Like, I can change that.
Down two, up two, down one, up one, down. Like,
and I was like, I do just need to let it breathe for a minute. So I got pretty good at that balance-wise, both like from a physical like balance perspective and then the actual balancing of the game. I don't even remember the question at this point. I'm sorry.
Just talking at post-release how it went.
Oh yeah,
we're talking through it.
The first like week and a half was crazy and brutal and stressful. Maybe more stressful than making the game itself.
Yeah, I agree. I felt wired. It was a
Mm-hmm.
weird feeling the first week after the game launch. I was like. I was in such a weird, like, just a weird place and super addicted to work. Like, morning, night, I'd wake up in the middle of the night and like check Steam to like just see if something was blowing. Like, nothing was blowing up, but like there was this like very. It was involuntary in a way that I look back and I'm like, I don't know. Do you feel that too? Of like the kind of it wasn't even a choice. It was like I'm doing this right now.
Yeah, I couldn't look away. I couldn't think away. I remember I finally, because I play basketball. I try to play basketball like twice a week, right? That's my kind of get out of the house thing. And I remember it was the first time I was playing basketball again since I released the game. I hadn't played in like a month and a half while I was making a few quick matches, and I'm like dribbling the ball up, supposed to make a pass or make a play or whatever, and I'm just thinking of like the bugs that I'm gonna fix when I get home, and I like caught myself not
and
being in the moment.
The ball hits you in the side of the face.
Yeah, like,
you're
or
just,
like it got like stripped away from me, like it got stolen from me, and I'm like, what the hell am I doing, man? Like I need to be at least present in the moments where I'm not at my computer. And my fiance started helping me a lot with that because she noticed it pretty quickly. It's like, you are not really taking time off when you're not away from the computer. Like, you need to be in the moment, let's think about something else. Let's talk about something else. So That
I
was
think for
good.
me it was nice
She's
to
a
have
huge
the
support.
holidays for me to like it literally I'm like, okay, Thornady, we're done on Christmas Day and we're taking 2 weeks off. Like
Yeah.
we'll look at stuff in the morning and break fix as needed, but like let's take some time to be away from the game now that we're kind of done with the immediate support. And
Yeah.
that timing actually worked out really nice. It was hard to peel away, but I think now that I'm in January, it that time apart really did help me to be able to like show up now in a way that I probably couldn't have had I just worked through the holidays.
Yeah, I also took a pretty significant break. The first real break I've had
Yeah.
through Christmas, which
Yeah.
was pretty helpful as well. I had people in the beginning telling me like, dude, you need to take a break, like you need to stop. But at the same time, I had hundreds of people yelling at me about bugs and stuff, so it was hard to listen to the guys telling me to take a break when
Yeah.
other things are breaking internally.
Yeah. Anything else as you look back at a few quick matches that you're like big lessons you take away from the project, things you're carrying forward, things you'd never do? Is there anything that like bubbles up to the surface of like kind of retrospectively looking back at the game now?
Not really. In retrospect, I think I did everything that I could do in those 2 months that I had,
Yeah.
plus the month after. I really don't. I don't think I could have done anything differently. But I will say after the fact, I don't think I want to make multiplayer games anymore, specifically PvP multiplayer games anymore.
Why's that?
I vastly underestimated, or maybe overestimated. I did not calculate the amount of vitriol that would exist just based on like decision making, on like buffing or nerfing a character, or like, it was just crazy to not, like, in hindsight, it's like, how could you not see it coming? Because every community for fighting games, there's always toxicity, there's always
People
a lot
identify
of
as
negativity.
this is my champion or my character,
Yeah,
this is my
yeah.
fighter, and now you've nerfed them, you've made my job harder to play your game.
And everyone does it in every fighting game. So I don't know why I didn't see it coming. I think I was just naive and being like, because I'm making a casual game and I'm marketing it as a casual game, and I'm like obviously not taking this super seriously. Like there are a bunch of derpy little stick figures running around. Like
Yeah.
it'll be fine. I'll get some. I was expecting some or whatever, but the amount of it was pretty brutal, and it really turned me off of wanting to like make a competitive game again. And I'm a super competitive person. I love competing. I have to be competing in something. Like right now it's basketball. I'm in like a men's league just to be able to compete, but it used to be Smash and like something. I have to be competing in something. So I understand the mentality of that, but like, whoo boy, when you get into like personal attacks for like just changes to characters and things like that, it really makes you, I don't know, it really turns you off of the idea of like making another one and releasing
It's because
another one.
they could be mad. That's fine, and you can have a reason why you nerfed it because of you're looking holistically at the game. But then to attack the devs personally, I'm like, that's just such a different level. Like it's such a weird, like the game is for fun, the game is for playing, it's whatever, it's for competing, it's for this. But it's like now you're personally, and like I wonder if it's like people who have their personal worth like tied up in these things. Like I did that as a kid. I used League of Legends as like I'd get really mad. I get really mad at losing in StarCraft 2 because I use these as things to like personally validate my worth as a person. And so I wonder if it's just these people who like you change the thing and now they're like they feel personally attacked by your choice, and so they're like reverse personally attacking. Or is there something else that you were able to glean from unfortunately all these personal threats toward you?
I think that's it. I mean, I used to personally attach my self-worth to how good I was at Smash. When I was going to tournaments every day, my life revolved around that game. I ruined relationships, friendships. If I had a bad time at a tournament, I was a terrible person to be around probably for a couple hours after that. And I was like very much addicted to the feeling of trying to be good at that game, and when it didn't go well, my life was in shambles, and that's the biggest reason why I stepped away from it completely at one point. So I understand that, and I think it is probably that, like there's just some external issues outside of the game, or like external factors where they're just having a bad day or they're having a bad year and they find solace in something, and I change it, and all of a sudden their peace is disturbed, like their little bit of escapism is not quite an escape anymore. It's more frustration than anything else. So I really do get it, and I think that's where it's coming from. It's hard to take it in all at once and see it from their perspective when it's just like, I'm just trying to make the sword guy not as good, man. I don't know.
Like from my perspective, the sword guy's winning a lot more than he should be winning. Like,
yeah. The biggest example of this is like he wasn't even the best character in the game, but he did have the best move in the game by far. It is like there was no question. The move was insane, but it was just fun to use, and it was my favorite move in the game, so I didn't want to nerf it all that much. So all I did was add a 3-second cooldown to it, so you couldn't spam it anymore. You couldn't just do it over and over and over and over and over. 3-second cooldown, and I got like more death threats than I can count. It was crazy, and I don't really get affected by like negativity most of the time. I'm pretty solidified in like who I am now. I wasn't like in my early 20s or whatever. I was awful. But yeah. I feel confident about myself now, so like when I see negative comments or things like that or whatever, it's like it doesn't penetrate very deep. But it changes. It changes when people like threaten you and like threaten to find you, and it feels a lot weirder. It starts to hit a little deeper, especially when you have like a family and stuff. And it's like I know none of these people are gonna actually fucking do anything.
But there's a voice that says, "What if?"
Yeah, there's a little voice in my head that's like, they could probably find me if they wanted to. Like, if they really wanted to, they could probably do it.
And it's a small number of your player base, but it's still like, it's just like, it only takes one person who is disgruntled and also like super, like, that's scary. I can empathize with that.
And I interacted with a couple of them, and a lot of them lose the spine pretty quickly, which is
when they realize you're a human, you respond. Yeah, you're like, hey man, like I'm trying my best here.
Because they would DM me about it, and I would DM them back and be like, sorry, I changed the thing. Here's why I did it.
Please don't come.
Your response is a little crazy, and here's why your response is a little crazy. And they'd be like, "Oh yeah,
this
sorry,
is inappropriate."
Man. Yeah, they would be like, "I love the game, by the way." It's like, okay, all right.
Yeah, some of it is just like rhetoric of like gamer rhetoric and like using these words that like don't mean what they're saying. Like if you take it out of context, it's like go kill yourself. You're like,
yeah.
That's not what they mean. They don't literally mean go kill yourself. It's like it's that gamer logic that you're like, yes, but I don't know you. And like people will say stuff just on YouTube and different things, and I'm like, whatever you're saying is fine, but I don't know who the fuck you are. You know who maybe I am. You know my product. You know whatever. But I'm like, you got to remember, I have no idea who you are. Like, and so I don't know that you're joking. I don't know that you're being serious. I don't know that like it's that like in my friend groups we can say jokes that outside the friend group probably come off as weird or like
exactly.
We have our culture of the jokes that are like funny and we understand we're being joking, but like from a stranger on the internet that doesn't come off the same way, especially when it's a death threat toward you or some sort of like physical threat. You're like, I hope you're using gamer language or something that's but like gosh, I hope I'm not wrong in that either.
Yeah, I hope we're still in the Matrix here, but not in the real world where you actually want to do this to me. But it started to get really heavy, and I remember there was a couple days where I was like looking at the ground all day, just thinking about like the comments that I was getting and stuff, and I was like, oh, this is what this feels like. This is what it feels like to when someone reads something online and it like impacts them in a meaningful way, because it really hadn't happened to me before up until that point. I just didn't care, because the internet's not a real place. So. But yeah, that one, it finally started to feel real. And I was like, oh man, this cyberbullying sucks.
Yeah, it does. It does. That sounds really challenging to deal with. And that sucks.
It's okay. Then I go look at the sales numbers. I just go look at the sales numbers and everything's fine. It's like, whatever. You can cyberbully me.
We're good. Looking forward, I don't know if are you in this place where you're okay talking about the next game or anything? Like, I know you're maybe trying to keep some stuff on wraps, like.
Yeah, I mean, I've kind of let it slip a few times, even in my community that I work on other things. But I mean, I still do want to finish stick figures. I feel like that's important, especially because of the kickstarted money. That's just.
So is that part of like? I guess maybe without maybe talking too many details, because I don't care. I care about your game. I don't care necessarily to dive into talking about the details of the game, because I personally already have talked to you about it. But like, I guess looking at like pie charts, because this is also something I'm interested in, something I've been thinking about this month a lot, is like I have old projects just like you, I have an old project that I want to finish that maybe I shouldn't be finishing, but like, not saying you shouldn't finish your game, but like I also have a game about being a black hole, and I have future projects I want to do, and it's like figuring out what my weekly or monthly pie chart starts to look like for the new year. So I'm interested to hear, what does your pie chart look like now that I guess you released in August, so you're 4 or 5 months out from that release. What is kind of it shaken out that like your time looks like on maybe a monthly basis?
That's one of the things that I told myself I was going to do in January, is really schedule out like when to work on specific things, because I have 3 projects at the moment. Essentially, I've got a few quick matches, stick figures, and then a single player project that I really
also have 3 projects.
Yeah, really want to make. Really wish it could be 100% to the single player project, if I'm being totally transparent. Sorry, a few quick matches and stick figures community, but like it's so fun to make this little single player thing that I'm working on, and I get so much joy out of it. And
I'll just say you can do that.
I could, but
you can.
It would feel like a massive betrayal. Specifically, I think it would actually not feel too bad on the a few quick matches side at this point, but it would feel bad for the people who donated to a game that never existed and are getting a second game that it still doesn't exist either. So I feel
can see that being a little bit more of a like, you're like, this is my personal brand. These people supported me a while back and helped get you to where you are today. I could see that wanting to make that whole being a big motivating factor.
But for now, it's like pretty much 50-50 on splitting time between a few quick matches and the single player game. It has been for a little while, which I think is a pretty healthy balance. And then once a few quick matches is closer to the workshop finishing up, it's probably just going to switch to 50-50 into stick figures and Crow game.
Does that look like this week is this thing, this week is that other thing, or is there more, like, is it a little bit more fluid?
I think I want to really heavily schedule out every day of being like, all right, this many hours I'm going to work on single player game, this many hours I'm going to work on a few quick matches. And I haven't done it yet. It was my New Year's resolution, and I'm 22 days late right now. Yeah, 22 days late. So maybe
my
I'll start
therapist likes to call them your intentions, because then you can still have the intention to do that, but like a resolution of like, I'm going to do this thing, all of a sudden you can fail it. Where if like I'm intending to be better at scheduling, all of a sudden now it gives you that wiggle room, and it almost acknowledges how fucking messy it is to be a human.
I'm gonna try really hard to start scheduling out my work days, because I really, up until this point, I just kind of sit down and like whatever I feel like working on.
Vibe-based project management.
Yeah, it's vibe-based project management. So
if I had to label mine, that's kind of how I do it though. I just have a little to-do list, and I'm just like, what do I want to do today? And like, it's worked so far, I suppose, but
yeah, it's worked out.
Yeah. So you're 50-50 right now, and then kind of like we'll replace the 50 other chunk when that game kind of comes to a sunset, and then the stick figures will come back up.
Yeah, and it's a huge motivating factor to want my pie chart to be 100% single player game. It's a very motivating factor. Like, I want to finish these 2 other projects so badly, so quickly, so that I can just move on and work on.
Financial pressure wise, I know that was a huge. It sounds like it was a huge motivating factor for getting a few quick matches done. Is that something that's going to be coming up like in the near future? And you can tell me to buzz off and on my business, but like,
oh no,
is that something that in the back of your mind is like, okay, some of these next 2 bets have to start to pan out in the long run? Like,
I don't know. It's kind of hard to gauge, because a few quick matches is still selling pretty well.
Cool.
Every time it goes on sale, it does well enough to where it's more than covering any expenses I have. My fiance also has a full-time job. She's a vet tech. So
cool.
she makes consistent normal money.
Do you have animals then at home?
Yeah, we have 2 cats.
What are their names?
Lupin and Boo.
Lupin and great. Boo. Cool. I have a cat named Carl.
Let's go, Carl.
Yeah. He's currently sleeping.
I love my cats. They're not allowed in here during serious hours because Lupin tries to chew everything. My fiance is a vet tech, so she makes normal people money, and I make weird people money, where sometimes it's like it just ebbs and flows.
There's a lot of. Someone said there's a lot of variance to game dev.
There really is. I still have over 120,000 wish lists that get emailed every time I go on sale. So yeah, my wish list number went absurd after the game launched. It just kept going up and up and up and up.
Going up.
Yeah, you
from
should
home,
check
man.
because yours is probably
I
similar.
check on a daily basis. I just don't actually know the exact number right now.
Yeah.
Wish lists. Um, Outstanding is at 75K.
Yeah, it's really great. So
Yeah, I'm
every
excited to
time
see
your
what the
game,
first sale will do because it's also
it's
like
gonna be
sale.
good.
We're doing this like sale festival, probably
Yep.
another visibility round. So it'll be interesting to see what that looks like for us.
Yeah, even when my game's not on sale, it's making more than I would make like from a traditional job.
Yeah.
And then when it does go on sale, it's basically like a big bonus. It's crazy. And I put it on sale
I
as
figured it out.
often
I
as
need
I can.
$100 per day to live.
Yeah,
And I'm like, I'm really far away from $100 a day on that game. So it's like it's an interesting feeling. I feel privileged to be there. I feel lucky to
Yeah.
have gotten this part, and like, there's also a lot of skill behind it. But it's like it is a weird place to be like, oh, huh. Like,
I've never been in this situation in my life. It's very strange. I hope I don't get used to it. I don't want to get used to it. I still, I'll go to the grocery store and I'll see that whatever, my favorite chip is $2 more than it's supposed to be, and I'm just like, so that's good. I still feel this anger at capitalism, which is great. I need to keep my anger for capitalism.
I go to an IGDA like game dev meetup near me, and it's the parking near it is a mess because it's in Minneapolis, and like.
Yeah.
I could pay for parking. It would cost me $10.
Yeah.
And I still park like a quarter mile away. And like, it was freaking 0 degrees last night. I was
Let's
walking.
go.
I was like, what the? I was like running to my car afterwards. Like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm like,
Well, I mean,
but
that's
I'm like,
the reason.
I can't help myself. It's
Yeah.
a gut instinct of like, I'm not fucking paying for parking. I'm like, that's a weird hill to die on there, Andy. Like, come on.
No, it's a great hill to die on because that's the reason that you're going to be able to keep making games for as long as you're going to be able to make games. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm still waiting for Bubbly to go on sale so I can buy it for half off. Like,
Yeah. So I mean, I think about that a lot. Where it's like the amount of money that I made could last me only half a year if I was kind of trying to adapt to the amount that I was making or whatever. But if I don't adapt anything, I don't change anything, I have so much runway. And I can really take my time with the next project, which is awesome. That's a great thing, and I've never really felt, because when we kickstarted Doors, it really didn't feel we were on a timeline. We had, like I said, we raised 40K, but it goes quick when you're paying 2 full-time people and then a third for like kind of managing and stuff. It goes like that. I mean, it really doesn't last that long. And yeah, now I feel like I can really, really slow down for the first time in my life, because even before that, I was month to month. Basically, I made exactly what I needed to from animation commissions, and it would go to rent and food, and I would have $0 at the beginning of every single month, all the way up until this game release. This is the first time where I've pretty much ever had like an excess amount of money.
Like some stable passive income coming in.
Yeah, it feels really weird. Gonna have to like pay for health insurance. It's like weird. But yeah, so I can take my time. Yeah, which is really
That's nice. I'm happy to hear that that it's not gonna be this like, okay, well, even though it did well, now I'm gonna be like, okay, by August I have to be doing or whatever it is. Like it's awesome that it still has a nice healthy long tail of sales. And
yeah, I still need to hold myself accountable, and I still need to I still need to work. I can't just sit here and I can't just play Arc Raiders. I really want to, but I can't just play Arc Raiders for a year.
It's me and
like
TFT.
Said,
I'm brutally addicted to it.
Yeah, it's bad. Yeah. But I can work a healthy amount. I don't have to, kill myself and take years off my life now, which is nice.
Yeah. I mean, a few quick matches, you did your grinding and stuff like that, and I hope that your future games you can make them in a way where it was like with this release, I finally got to this spot where I could understand enough of the process to like not crunch at the end, and it felt really nice.
Yeah.
The release was still insane, and that was a different set of feelings, but like all my other games, I was like last couple weeks crunching, working really late at night, and so it's like I hope for your future games that crunch cycle doesn't happen unless you want it to at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, unless you're like, cool, I want to do this like last little grind here, but being in a position where you can kind of hit the scope or change the deadline, or hit the deadline and change the scope, whatever you want to do there, I hope that works out for you.
Did you have so for a game about feeding a black hole, did you have like a number of sales that you expected to hit or needed to hit or wanted to hit, kind of similar to my like I want to sell 1,000 copies and I feel like that's a realistic goal? Did you have like a realistic number in your head?
the whole objective was to make it as quick as possible, as
Yeah.
few hours as possible, so that the number could be as low as possible. And I
Yeah.
think we did the math at some point and said, like, I think to make like a decent hourly wage, like, cause I looked at, this is where like I know I need $100 per day. So if I like $100 per day, I work on this game for, it was like 4 months or something. Then you can like start reverse engineering. Well, then here's how much money it needs to make to pay for itself.
Yeah.
And then here's how much money it needs to pay for a second game that's also 4 months in development cycle.
Yep.
Like, and I can then see that was like, it was somewhere between like, I think it was like 10 to 14K would pay for itself, and then 30K would pay for the next game as well.
Yeah.
And that was where I'm like, as a business, that was the target.
Yeah.
And so I think that turns out to be like, it's not that many sales at a $5 game. What's 14? I can do the quick math here. 14,000, I say, divided by 5. It's 3,000 sales, which is like, I did that with Hexagod, and it was kind of a flop of a game, but Hexagod flopped because it was a year and a half of development, not because it was like, so it's like, okay, let's aim for that low numbers, and that sort of like stuff. Same thing with a few quick matches. It made the design have to have as little unknowns as possible. It was, I wasn't learning anything new. I was using a lot of, like, you can play Hexagod, you can play Chess Survivors, you can see a game about feeding a black hole, stuff got pulled out of those games and put into this game. And like, so there's so little unknown because the timeline was so tight.
Yeah. Because
that was the goal. I didn't need to. I still had plenty of runway. I could have probably done this again 2 or 3 times before I ran out of money. And at the same time, I think 2 or 3 games done this quickly would have put me at 5 released games, which I think would have given me a passive income that would have broke even regardless. Because $100 a day is like 20 to 30 sales across 5 games. And like, I think I could do that where like discount windows and stuff, I'm like, there was a path to profitability that wasn't have game blow up. Which I think is like a really interesting thing that I hope people take away from me talking about it, is like, I rolled a crit, or we rolled a couple crits with a game about feeding a black hole. You rolled a crit with some of the stuff with a few quick matches. And there's also this part of like, oh, it could have also done a lot less, and you could have turned around and maybe had to make a smaller game and a tighter game. But there's also path forward that aren't, let's make games that sell, 100,000 copies, wherever it is. Like,
yeah, and I think it's like a frustrating thing about game dev YouTube in general. I think, like, obviously the most popular videos are always going to be I made 6 figures, blah blah blah.
Yes.
My
my current
game,
videos do
whatever.
much better than my videos from a year ago at this point.
I bet.
Like,
I bet.
It's like it's a factor of 10, and I'm not doing anything different. Just the numbers are bigger and more exciting.
But it really skews the idea of success in game dev, where it's like, if I don't make 100K, my game sucks or whatever. And it was the same thing for art for a long time for me. And I finally kind of got into this rhythm of like, the fact that I'm able to do this, even though I'm going to $0, every month or whatever, the fact that I'm able to do this with my life and I get to sit at my computer and just draw, and I'm not really like, I'm my own boss. And the fact that it's working at all is a miracle and is enough success for me to like be happy with it. And it took a really long time to get there. And I hope that people who are like working on their first game or whatever don't feel like they need to make 6 figures or 7 figures in order for their game to be successful. Like, you just need to be able to make games. If you get to the point where you're able to make games, then you're doing good. Like, you're doing better than most. And
was there ever a point you thought of quitting? Walking away,
like art in
doing
general?
Something else. Yeah, is there like, because like the cool thing is you're still here, you're still making it, and like you stuck with it long enough to the point where it became successful.
Yeah.
And even I think if this game wasn't successful, I would wager you would have found a way to keep doing this.
Yeah, I am so against having a normal job just because I felt so miserable doing it. Not because I don't think there's any like honor in it or whatever. Like, I don't know. It's not like that. It's just I physically and mentally felt horrible I felt trapped in it. And so I'll dig myself out of any hole any other way than just going back to getting a normal job. And even if it was like a more traditional job, it would probably still be involved in like an art space in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to picture like doing anything else because I can't. It has to be like a creative space, and it has to be working for myself. I just don't know how to put it anywhere else.
There's something beautiful about it that I definitely like. There's moments in my jobs in the past where I liked working. Like it was fun to be on a team and like do cohesive team stuff. But then there's also this just another set of stress and like anxiety and like dread about going into work that cycle was just so toxic for me personally that I'm like, okay, I did my time here. I paid off my student loans. Now let me go like do something else. And this is something where I'm like, I could see myself doing stuff like this for a very long time. Like this feels very fulfilling. It's hard. It's stressful. We talked about a lot of crazy emotions along the journey in this last hour. And it's like, and there's so much like cup filling, soul point gaining types of like activities that are happening here.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, my whole life, I feel like I wanted to make games. I just never thought I could because I was so detached from the idea of being able to code. But I mean, all the way back in elementary school and middle school, I remember wanting to make games. I remember in middle school, I was really obsessed with RuneScape. It was at the heyday of RuneScape, right? Like the peak of RuneScape. And
this might be the peak of RuneScape though right now too.
Dude,
like,
I know.
Last year could be the new peak.
That's crazy. But back then, before
Sure. Back when it wasn't called OSRS, it was just called RuneScape.
It was just RuneScape. There was no RuneScape 3. I was obsessed, and I remember being at my godmom's house at one point and wanting to make games.
In my head, it's like you were describing your mom as godmom. Like it wasn't like it wasn't explaining her relationship. It was
yeah. No.
Oh, that's so funny.
My actual godmother. And I wanted to make games, but I didn't know how. And you know how in RuneScape you can do like random amounts of damage when you swing your sword or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like you'll just get a random tick of damage. I was so detached from the idea of code that I didn't understand how that worked. So I would draw a sword, and I would say that this is the number that it's going to hit. Like it's going to do 6, then it's going to do 2, then it's going to do 0.
Oh, you ordered
7.
it.
And I did it. I wish I still had the sketchbook, but I had a giant sketchbook of just like different weapons and the amount of damage they were going to do until
and
it
you
looped
just
back to the
increment it
beginning.
through that.
Yeah, and
if that's long enough, that probably would feel real.
Yeah,
right. Like
that's how I thought they did it.
Random.
I was like, I was like, that must be how they're doing it. I can't think of any other way.
I can't think of possibly any other way. Like,
yeah, no. So all the way back then, I wanted to make games. I was just very unequipped to do it.
That's beautiful.
And then I grew up in like a hippie commune with like dial-up internet and basically no real understanding of like how to learn things online. The internet was like a place for me to play RuneScape, and that was it. And it took 2 hours to load. So it took a long time to like actually start using the internet as a resource to learn how to do stuff.
Yeah, well, that's really cool. I could dive into that conversation for a while, but perhaps we should leave that for the next one, or a call with you, me, and Nick as we just sit there and dig through stuff. I want to end the podcast by chatting about scope creep for a little bit, and that's simply, what is your relationship with scope creep? Do you have mechanisms for killing scope creep, for fighting it off? Do you let it flow through you and the evil come out of you? Like, how do you manage that?
I'm a big planner. In my head, I don't put things down onto paper enough. I really should, but I plan out entire games before I start working on them, and I've kind of just always done that for animations and stuff too. I would plan out shot for shot everything that was going to happen before I would start working on it, and I don't deviate very often from what I come up with in my head.
Yeah.
And usually it's taking things away instead of adding more. So I feel like I just work too much in my little ADHD brain for there to be scope creep, because the game that's up here is already bigger than it's going to be, and I kind of know that. So I just trim the fat after
So
that.
what you choose to take from the mental model, the mental to-do list, the mental planning, what you actually put into the game and the world becomes like that process from here to there is the filter of cut.
Yeah, I make sure that what I'm working on is going to stick around. I don't like wasting my time, and I don't like having to reiterate too often. Even in like the single player game that I'm working on now, like I know every movement, mechanic, and attack that this character is going to do. Yeah. And now I just work on those things, and like I get to put them in and add one at a time, and it feels good, and I know that it's going to stick around. And then I'm kind of still planning like the external systems, and I won't start working on them until I feel like I know how big it should be.
Yeah. So there's even it sounds like a little bit of a prioritization toward what are the initial building blocks that everything else will be built around, and making sure that you're happy with that. So you don't build a character controller, build a world where all the jumping makes sense, and then be like, well, actually, I wanted the jump to be a little bit more bouncy. And then all of a sudden that invalidates all that other work. So because I've seen you run around your new game, and I'm like, boy, that looks really great. Like, and you spend so much time polishing because everything else is built around that.
Yeah, I don't know how people make games without finishing a character controller first, like fully finishing it. I don't understand. Like I'm envious of people who can like start working on the game as a whole.
Yeah.
Because I just don't get it. It's like I have to know exactly what my character is going to move like and feel like and everything they can do before I make anything else, because I want that to inform the rest of the game.
Especially the types of games you're having, it almost has to happen that way.
It's a necessity. I'm just so obsessed with movement and like game feel specifically, like the core of game feel before you start adding in all the bells and whistles.
I don't play a lot of platformers. I don't play a lot of, but I play some prototypes of some ones, and I'm just like, you can feel certain ones, and I'm like, I don't know how to fix it, but I just know this is not it. Like,
dude, it's a lot of the time, guys, it's animation. I swear to God, the animation.
Like you can hide crimes with animation.
You can hide so much crime with animation. I mean, if you, maybe at some point I'll show it to you. But if you take away the character from my character controller and go back to the little capsule, it's just a normal thing again. There's nothing going on. There's like no personality or no. I don't know.
Like the smoothness of your art, the frame rates you're doing, all those different things. Trick our brains into thinking it looks really great.
Yeah, that's all animation's ever been, right? Like, nothing's happening when you watch an anime or you watch an animated movie. There's nothing is actually happening. It's all a trick and an illusion to make you feel like something is happening. And like in game dev, it's the same thing where I'm just tricking you.
It's just an illusion. Yeah.
Yeah. When my character does a backflip, it's not actually doing it. The capsule's just doing this. Like
the capsule goes up and then it goes down, and then the actual art changes. Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, it's all baked into animations, and I think having so many years of just like watching and being obsessed with animation and such a fundamental understanding of animation is like carrying me so hard through the beginnings of game dev, because I can make things look good that shouldn't look that good yet.
I'm incredibly envious of you coming from like an art background into programming, because I'm like, even last night where I was talking to a bunch of other game devs, I'm like, I could find other programmers so easily.
Yeah.
It is so hard to find an artist out there. And like, that's something that I'm developing my skills as an artist, to find my taste, to find my style, to find my things, because I'm like, I'm confident enough that I can like figure out how to do art. And if I do it long enough, I'll get better and better at it. And like, a game about feeding black holes, art isn't impressive, but it's aesthetically like cohesive.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's been nice about that game. But it's like, I'm envious that you're coming from that perspective, because people who come from programming like me, we're clawing our way to figure out how to do art. And like, you're coming from the opposite perspective, and you're having challenges, but then you're also engaging and finding people who can help you solve those challenges. And I think that is also a skill I'm trying to develop here.
Yeah, no, I think that I am coming from an advantageous path, because at the end of the day, coding challenges are just math. Like, you can solve it, someone has already solved it somewhere. If you have a question, or if you don't know how to do something, it's just numbers, and it's a lot easier to solve than like the creative side of things. The creative side is much harder, and it's not to toot my own horn or whatever. It's just the truth. And it's harder to translate an idea that you have visually in your head and make it an actual reality. And I'm grateful that I spent a lot of my life like doing that before I got to this point.
Your brain is tighter connected to the art, where like, if I'm trying to explain something that's in my brain in art, taking ideas and putting them into someone else's head is really hard. It's like a very hard thing to like translate. But if you can just take it and put it in like here's what I'm thinking, and like you just make it, like, that's that connection that I think is maybe helping. It sounds like helping you combat scope creep is like, I know what I want it to look like, and I have developed the skills. What does Liam Neeson say? You have a particular set of skills to execute the vision into reality, and then it's working with other people to figure out how to do X, Y, and Z a little bit better. So
Yeah, there's a little bit of a curse too, where I visually know exactly what I want it to look like, and if someone else works on it, I know I'm just going to change it. Like visually, I haven't let anyone touch my games yet. I really haven't.
Yeah. Which that could be your line in the sand, right? You'd be like, a line in the sand, or even like use it as like you prototype it. You don't spend that much time and tell them I'm going to change it, but I want you to at least get me the POC or something, whatever you're trying to do, and be like, just know that it's going to change because I have my own taste and style. And
that's just how it is for me. I don't know.
Cool. Well, so it sounds like you have a decent relationship with Scope Creep, which is awesome. And I'll be interested to follow along with your single player game to see if that continues, because that game also sounds like it could have a tremendous amount of scope creep when it comes to level design and whatnot. So
yeah, that's true. I don't know what that's going to entail yet. So
yeah. Sweet. Well, thanks for coming on the podcast. I'd love to have you back at some point. Otherwise, I'll chat with you probably on Monday again. But yeah, thanks for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. It was fun.
Sweet. A pretty cool conversation. And what I hope you take away from this is that crazy moments can happen. Moments where you roll a natural 20 and you have this critical success. But what I also hope that talking to Pluto here teaches you or shows you or exemplifies it, I don't know, is that you have to be looking out for it. And you have to almost be looking internally to see, you don't have to be. I think it's probably a useful strategy, and I've seen it from a different types of devs and myself, of like being able to look internally and see what is the story you want to tell? What are the things you want to do? What are the opportunities you think you are uniquely capable of creating? Pluto knew the fighting community, been a part of the fighting community, had spent many years doing this, making connections with all these different people, had done a ton of stick figure animations, and so had a good art style and had all those things capable, and then found some kind of cool tools online to basically like help him with the technical side of it all, so that he could make a few quick matches very quickly. I'm not saying your set of examples and your set of circumstances and your unique Liam Neeson's set of skills that you've honed over a long career, a long life, are going to be the same as Pluto's, are going to be the same as mine, are going to be the same as anybody else's. But like, there's something about looking at your life and trying to pull your threads together to make something creative, and something that you can truly put your voice in. That's not easy. Finding your creative voice, finding your creative legs, this is the grinding it out and trying to figure it out. Like, for so long, I felt that I was mimicking, and now I'm finding that I'm figuring out how I want to approach this stuff. And I'm always I'm always reinventing those things. I'm always rethinking those things. I'm always being self-reflective, and this podcast is something that's helping me basically like hone these skills by talking to other developers to know what they are. So that's it. It was really fun to talk to somebody who's in a very similar spot of mine. I felt like I had a lot of compassion and empathy. It's interesting to talk to somebody who's a couple months further along the path of having a successful game. And I hopefully also it shows you that it can happen. 8 months ago, Pluto sat there not thinking that it would happen. 7 months ago, I sat there seeing Pluto's success and his thing saying, I want to have that. I want to have that moment, and I want to keep my eyes open for that and be like, I'm jealous. I was jealous at the time, and then I was also inspired by it. I hope maybe this podcast could be that thing for you to understand that it can happen. You just got to not stop making games. Given enough time, enough effort, enough pulls at the slot machine of releasing a game on Steam, you'll start rolling crits yourself, and you'll start understanding how to take advantage of these things. Thank you so much for watching. Life's hard. Take care of yourself first and foremost. Take care of your communities. And I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.